This is a California bay leaf. This is a Pacific madrone leaf. This is an autumn leaf. This is autumn leaves played with autumn leaves. This is a man in a leaf. This is the hidden leaf. And this, my friends, is a musical leaf. Not really, but I think we can make it musical. You see, when we zoom deep into a leaf's vein structure, far beyond what the naked eye can see, we start to find recursive pathways, patterns that we can map naturally onto meter, rhythm, and microtonal harmony. I'm on a quest to make the leafiest music possible. I want to incorporate leaf structures at every possible level, from rhythm to the fabric of harmony itself. We'll start with a historical excavation and see how the earliest music theorists used tree structures to communicate incredibly complex meter. From there, we're going deep into the botanical science behind leaf technology in order to sonify plant skeletons, unravel fractal music, and see what these beautiful, life-giving things all around us every day might have to teach us about music itself. Grab your shovels, folks. From branches to beats, it's leaves all the way down. In the 14th century, theorist Johannes Vechulis came up with the idea that would eventually be known as metric trees, Arboris divisionum, a user-friendly way to diagram subdivision and accent structure. Let me show you how this works. We'll begin by planting our roots. This is the foundation, the macro level of our rhythmic structure. From here, we branch outward. These are our subdivisions which help highlight key beats. Depending on how complex our tree structure is, or how granular we want to get in the composition, we may want to branch again into a sublayer. At this point, we deal with either binary or ternary subdivisions. Finally, we reach the microlayer, the leaves. They represent the system's smallest rhythmic unit, in this case, eighth notes. Metric trees are not just a great way to visualize complex and shifting meter, but also a fantastic way to reimagine old rhythms in new and mind-bending ways. My friend Andy made this incredible free browser app for making metric trees. Highly recommend. Anyway, in one of his demos, he reinterprets the rhythm from Ed Sheeran's Shape of You, and you've got to hear this because it's actually just bonkers. Okay, so we got 28 divided into a bunch of polyrhythms. 4 to 7, 6 to 7, 5 to 7, 9 to 7. It's insane. And look, obviously, this song is meant to be interpreted in 4/4, but hopefully, by this demonstration, you can see that plotting beats with metric trees can show us how endlessly flexible rhythmic interpretation can be, and why this approach can absolutely be a prog musician's best friend. Trees and leaf structures have long inspired composers and music theorists, from John Cage and his cactus music, to Mark Evanstein and his YouTube channel where he traces ant pathways along leaves to generate music with their geometry. Heck, I've even used them before in my microtonal branch method for modulating between tuning systems. Trees and music go hand in hand because they're both often examples of natural fractals. A fractal is a never-ending geometric pattern. The deeper you go, the more of the same you'll find. A trunk gives way to branches, branches give way to leaves, and when we look closely at one of those leaves, we start to see a familiar pattern emerge. Humans are kind of fractal-esque. We branch out into limbs, which again branch into smaller limbs. This doesn't go all the way down. We stop at our knuckles and leaf veins loop rather than branch. It's not a perfect mathematical fractal, but rather an iterative one. And trust me, when applied to music, this is actually a strength and not a weakness. I'd like to show you that application, but first we need to understand something crucial about one of nature's most useful fractals: the phyllotactic spiral. Fractals, and really anything spirally in nature, often gets co-opted by the, let's call it the woo-woo mysticism crowd. But the reason we see fractals appear so often in nature is way simpler than that. They're just super efficient. Let's say, for no particular reason, you woke up and found yourself being a tree. What do you need? Well, first off, you're probably going to want some sun.
And water.
So in a forest filled with other really tall trees, you might think it's to my benefit to grow really tall, taller than all of my tree friends, so I can be the one to collect the most amount of sun. While we're at it, let's grow really large and wide-reaching leaves to maximize energy consumption. You'd think this would be beneficial, and to a certain extent it is, but it turns out it's not super practical. Because as a tree, can only reasonably expend a certain amount of energy. And to tell you the truth, that leg extension surgery is just too costly for a tiny short little shrub like me. So I have to think smarter about it. How do I get the most tree for my trunk? The answer, as it turns out, is fractals. Remember, the more you zoom in, the more of the same you'll find. This shape that we're looking at isn't growing, it's not expanding, we're just getting closer and zooming in. And it's efficient because fractals let us maximize surface area in limited space. One of nature's most useful fractals are generated with angles based on math, specifically 1/π. If leaf angles are based on simple fractions like 1/2, or 1/4, we quickly get overlap, gaps, and a bunch of wasted space. But if our generator angle is based on an irrational number like 1/π, about 137.5 degrees, you get remarkably efficient spacing, which will maximize sun exposure. This is what botanists call the phyllotactic spiral. It's closely related to this recursive number set, often referred to as the Fibonacci sequence. Not because it's magic, but because it solves a very practical problem. And maybe, just maybe, it can solve our musical one, too. Because I can't think of anything more fractal than interpreting the fractals of a fractal with the fractals of a fractal's fractal. Did I say that right? Yeah, close enough. Now, let's build some leaf scales with spiral math. We'll start by focusing on the thickest branches of the vein structure for now. Down the center is something called the midrib. This will represent our root note. In Edo step notation, this is 0. We're in 31 tone equal temperament, by the way, so if you're not caught up, I'd recommend these videos. Anything to the left of the midrib, we approach going down the scale. Anything to the right, we'll build stacking upwards. To the right of this midrib, we can identify 7 main veins. So now we simply go to the 7th number of our phyllotactic sequence, which happens to be 8. We can use this number to generate a leaf scale by consecutively stacking 8 diesis on top of each other. 8 diesis in 31, by the way, is equivalent to a minor third. So we have 0 plus 8 equals 8 plus 8 again is 16, and then 24. So this leaf yields a 4-note tetrachord based off of minor thirds. Now, if we keep stacking 8 diesis on top of this like we have been, something really interesting and unexpected starts to emerge. 24 plus 8 is 32. 32 in 31 Edo step notation is actually 1, right? Because 31 is the same as 0, so we actually go 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 0, 1. Well, that's funny. It doesn't connect back at the roots. Look, it overshoots by 1 diesis. Let's keep going. 1 plus 8 equals 9, 9 plus 8 equals 17, 17 plus 8 equals 25. For every scale node, we have a duplicate an octave away that's offset slightly half sharp. A spiral in a spiral that doesn't close.
Fractal of a fractal of a.
But, you know, that's just one leaf. Let's try a couple more that have different vein structures. This red oak leaf has 5 veins. The 5th number in our sequence is 3, so stacking 3 diesis or 1 minor second a bunch of times yields this scale. If we keep going beyond the octave with this same pattern, we'll find yet another familiar spiral. Let's take a listen. In fact, it seems like we've accidentally, through nature mapping, discovered a new way to make a double mode. Which is so cool because this scale is ostensibly built off of stacking minor seconds, and yet, when we go past the octave, it creates some really microtonal moments. If we octave reduce the second octave of the spiral, we can even use this leaf to flower recursive neutral shimmer chords. That's pretty sick. Even this oregano leaf with 4 veins is a double mode. Although after just one iteration, it basically becomes a full 31-note microchromatic scale. So I don't know how actually useful this is in practice, but you get the idea. Okay, time for some leaf music. Earlier I said I wanted to make the leafiest music possible. Let's see how many levels deep we can go. Level 1, meter. We'll use a number from our leaf fractal to set the time signature of this tune. 21 should do it, why not? Level 2, distribution. Using Vichulis's metric tree method, we'll break down that meter using only the numbers from our fractal sequence to determine our accent pattern. Level 3, interpretation. We'll base all harmonic content from the structure of this apple leaf. Level 4, leaf scales. We'll interpret that structure using the phyllotactic spiral framework we built earlier, determining our leaf scale. Level 5, nesting. We'll nest our structure in a larger fractal by doubling each note length and assigning it to a bass part. Level 6, more nesting. By halving each note length and bumping it up an octave, we can add another recursive layer to our structure. Level 7, all of the nesting. Repeat level 6 and level 7 again in both directions. Level 8, timbre. If we distribute groupings of notes based on this sequence across different instruments, we can represent the fractal in yet another layer of the music. Level 9, need for speed. This is where it gets weird, but if we speed up the piece as far as it will go, the whole thing will end up sounding more or less just like one note. And if we're clever with our ratio math and the extreme speeds that we're ramping this up to, we can actually generate an exact copy of this tune from a really fast, sped up version of itself. Level 10, bonus. Add cactus and tree percussion for fun. And finally, sit back and enjoy the most leafiest music possible. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. This is a little bamboo jam I made with the brilliant marimbist, Dr. Peyton McDonald. I really liked how it turned out, but I couldn't quite find a place to fit it in the video, so I'm gonna slap it on at the end here while I talk to you guys about Patreon. If you wanna learn more about microtonal harmony, practical ways to use 31 Ito, or just wanna support the educational mission of this channel and help me keep the lights on over here, Patreon is by far the best way to do it. We have exclusive lectures on microtonality for the modern musician, bonus videos like how to microtune in your DAW, access to the microtonalist manual, tuning files, you name it, we got it. It'll be because of our patrons that I'm able to make these videos regularly and at the level of quality that you all deserve. Thank you so much for your support, and as always, we await you with open arms and a whole lot of notes.